Phil Dalidakis, who was the Trade Minister under the Andrews government for a while, and Bernie Finn, who was a Liberal until recently and is now standing for the Democratic Labor Party. Thank you both, gentlemen, for your time. Phil Dalidakis, was that the most boring thing? What did you get out of this?
Well, I think for a debate a few days out from the election, boring wins for Daniel, because there are no stories that come out of this. There's no negative media that comes out of it. And so I think from a lead into the final day on Saturday, Daniel and the team will think that this is a great outcome.
Yeah, but I thought, Bernie, that Matthew Guy missed an opportunity, because obviously there's polling that says that Daniel Andrews, you're now toxic. You saw the polls today indicating a huge fall in the Labor vote. And it's trying to be Mr. Nice now, you know. It's like someone told him how to smile, which is great, you know. That's nice to see. But Matthew Guy missed the opportunity by going in really hard and trying to tease him.
Yep, look, there's a huge number of people out there who wanted Matthew to go in hard tonight. They really wanted him to go in hard. They wanted to take a swing or two at Daniel Andrews. He didn't do that. As you say, he smiled and he cackled and he, was Mr. Nice Guy all over the place. But we've got very, very serious issues in the state, and Matthew addressed the health issue, but probably not much else. And he failed, on the climate change issue, on a number of issues, which is just. Well, you saw my reaction when he responded. My head was in my hands. I just couldn't believe what he had said. I mean, here's a guy who should be, if you pardon the pun, here's a guy who should be leading on this issue, but instead he's following. But it's just extraordinary.
I thought the lack of aggression and the fear of going against the zeitgeist came out most clearly when you've got the Premier putting forward this moonshine about a state-owned electricity company that's going to be totally renewable. It's going to come in 10 years from now, prices are going to go down, or 13 years from now, prices are going to go down. Government-owned, not about profit, about people. This is just nonsense on stilts. But Matthew Guy didn't say a word against it.
Well, because we've got a cost of living crisis as well, exacerbated by obviously the energy crisis and the war in the Ukraine, which is reverberating right around the world, not just in the European continent. And so when you've got a popular policy, and the SEC has proven to be a popular policy, and it's going to reduce the cost as they claim, right, then if you're Matthew Guy, you want to stay away from that. You don't want to go near something that's proving popular that's not your policy, because all you're doing is giving it oxygen.
Now, Phil, I get that point, right? But on the other hand, Bernie, if Matthew Guy was actually saying, we're going to run this, it's going to be government-owned. Let's have a listen. Here he's saying, not profit, people. Here he is.
A positive, optimistic plan for free kinder, more free TAFE courses, investing in more nurses, more AMBOs, and perhaps most importantly, from a cost of living point of view, bringing back the SEC, government-owned renewable energy that's for people, not for profit.
Now, taking Phil's thing, right? You don't want to go hard because it's popular. All you have to say is, do you think anything run by this government is going to be so good that it's going to drive the prices down?
Well, they've stuffed it up, everything they've touched to this point in time. The fact of the matter is, if Matthew had wanted to make a point, he merely had to point out that renewables are forcing the cost of energy up. But he didn't want to go there. Absolutely, he didn't want to go there. But that's what's happening. If you want to get the cost of living down, if you want to get the cost of electricity down, you use the coal that we have.
We've got hundreds of years supply.
For example, the DLP, we want to build 3 new coal-fired power stations. And that's, I think, a very reasonable thing. We're talking about affordable, reliable power. Why wouldn't Matthew Guy run with that? That seems to be a very reliable
I'll tell you who the winner
thing.
of the debate was. The winner of the debate was Sky News, because they were the ones that actually had the only debate of the election. And the winner of that debate was Kieran Gilbert, because, of course, he moderated it. Beyond that...
But I tell you what, Phil...
Kieran asked the best questions. I tell you what, I don't think Daniel Andrews would be too pleased with him. Give us the elections on Saturday. Give us your tip.
I expect Labor to win. I expect Labor to win with a reduced majority. I think that we've seen that Daniel's popularity has declined as a result of COVID and the lockdowns. There's no doubt about that. But let me also point out that for any party attempting to win a third term in office, if they were told you would have a 2PP of 53% to 47%, they would jump at that. So this is not a bad outcome for Labor. There will be people that will lose their seats. That's a given. But to win on a 53-47% 2PP would be an amazing achievement for a third-term government. But it will go late in the night. The counting will go late in the night. We won't have clear and obvious outcomes early like we have previously. And of course, if anyone needs to know why you shouldn't vote for Matthew Guy, it's Bernie Finn, because he was chucked out of the party by Matthew and he's now campaigning against Matthew in a different party altogether.
Thank you for that, Phil.
What do you expect is going to happen?
Well, look, I anticipate my worst nightmare is going to become a reality, and we're going to have a Labor Greens government. I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, people are talking about, it's going to be a close race, it's going to be a close election. It's not, because they're not taking into account that 12 or 13% or whatever it is that the Greens have. Almost every single one of those votes will go straight to the ALP. So, you know, we are going to have horror of horrors, an ALP Greens government. At that point, Victoria is stuffed.
Yeah, so I don't think that's
frightening. As I was driving to the studio tonight, a neighbour stopped me and said that was, and I think also the guy in the butcher shop told me exactly the same thing. The chicken shop told me exactly the same thing this morning. That is the horror, and I think we may be headed to that for that.
God help us.
Phil Dalidakis, Bernie Finn, thank you both so much for your time. Really
Very great
appreciate
pleasure.
that.